I'm going to sit in your old chair.
There you go. I'm gonna take a break from
Push this out.
the little shit. Hey, Kerry, let me sit down here since you're, no,
Sorry, what?
oh, I know, yeah. No, it's a podcast.
Next up on the podcast, we're going to talk about Dave Thomas, one of the other founders of the Gogh-Getters, apparently. Not the founder, not Wendy's father.
Comedian Dave Thomas, who was on the Bob Newhart show. Remember my cousin Daryl and my other cousin Daryl?
Yeah, yes I do.
That was the second Bob Newhart show.
Oh, okay.
The first one was in the
Anyway,
70s.
not either one of those guys.
That's
and there were
right.
200 Dave Thomases in my high school class. And I used to get failing notices for one of them delivered to my house, and I'd get home from school and be in big trouble.
Where'd you grow
All have
up?
pretty
That's awesome.
common names, so,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
go ahead and tell us about your sign.
Yeah,
Or what?
yeah. So, like,
I
you're,
wandered into it.
but you're deep into commercial art, as you say, but mostly through signage and design, right? That's kind of
Yeah,
like been your bread and butter until you retired. But how did you get into that?
It was by default, you know. I had to do something. I always liked to build things.
Yeah.
When I was like 10 years old, I started building model cars.
And your association with Larry Weatherford was a big part of this.
Yeah, Larry Weatherford and I met when I was 21. Hit it off immediately over motorcycles and cars and art and girls.
You all go together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where was that, Dave? Where did you guys meet?
I was in school at SIU, and my
Carbondale.
my girlfriend at the time was a year ahead and was doing student teaching with him. He taught art at Collinsville High School.
Wow.
And we had dinner with he and his wife one night, and you know, the two women had to pull us apart at the end of the evening because we were just like talking
Thick as thieves.
motorcycles and cars and art.
That's funny.
Yeah. But
Go K-Hawks.
I always had an interest in like building things in general. I built thousands of model cars. Proud to say I won many trophies in model car contests for my outstanding skills. And I liked to draw when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Was Larry your first job? Sign at a sign company?
Yeah, but that was quite a bit later. I mean, the sign thing really was just like what I did to make money and make a living. You know, I guess I was good at it. A lot of people, you know, guys like you. But I really wanted to be more into art than signs.
But there's such an art to them.
Well, there can be, yeah.
Did you do any hand painting when you started doing signs?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like you were doing
Yeah.
paints
Okay,
and brushes
so
on signs and
cars, art. I had like conflicting things going. I went to school. I had a double major in art and a minor in art education, and I thought I wanted to teach. I was going to teach high school level for a couple of years, and go to grad school. And I wanted to teach at the university level. I wanted to teach art. But when I started my college education, I wasn't sure what I wanted to be a car designer. I wanted to be an automotive designer. And so I was taking like engineering kind of classes and art classes. And then I found I really liked art a lot more than engineering.
what years are these?
68 I started.
So they were smoking more dope in the art room than they were in the engineering room. We're saying. That's
they were
The drugs
alcoholics
were
in
better.
engineering school, and we were dopers in the art school. Yeah.
right. So you hang.
Not really dopers. Nobody was like, yeah. But you had mentioned you guys were talking about your first drawing class, and and there was a nude model. Well, my best friend growing up was a guy named Mike Turpinoff, who's a working artist now in Alexandria, Virginia, and he's in a gallery in D.C. And we hit it off again a couple of years ago, after not seeing each other for 50 years. But we graduated from high school. He took a summer art class, Art 100A. It was a drawing class with Don Davis. Remember Don Davis?
Do not.
No.
You don't?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, you don't know? Okay.
No.
He's in the era of Mike Smith,
Mm-hmm.
Dan Anderson, all those guys. Anyway, this is the summer of '68, and he says, I took this drawing class, and there's a nude model. I'm going, well, I'm going to sign up for that.
And that's
Yeah, and you had like a really great experience. My first nude model was probably 300 pounds, hairy armpits, sweating, I had flies buzzing around her. I mean, it was like so disappointing.
I would just call mine surprising. I think.
Yeah, well, I was surprised too, not in a good way. But
So you get your first signed job with Larry.
it's like so far later.
So what'd you do right out of college? You graduated. You graduated.
Well,
you have a
okay,
degree,
so I
right?
was going to teach.
Yeah.
Teach. I did my student teaching.
Yeah.
And I hated it.
Oh,
And I got out of college. I'm like, well, no.
what the fuck am I gonna do
You
now?
know? And I got a job. So I went back to one of my other loves, automobiles. I got a job at a Collinsville Volkswagen and BMW dealer. The service department and parts department did that for a few years.
Where's that at?
It was right on 159. Yeah, there's a Ford dealer next
No,
door.
yeah, no, I know exactly where it's at.
Yeah. If you look at the building, you can tell it used to be a car dealer.
No, I remember the Volkswagen.
Oh, okay, okay.
I grew
Well,
up in
that's
Collins.
right.
Yeah.
Well, that would have
Forgot
been.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what he's talking about Collins, I'm like, yeah, I know all about these things.
But I actually worked, before that, I forgot. Before that, I worked for the May Company in St. Louis, designing and building like exhibit fixtures for the store. And I liked that.
That'd be
Yeah.
Anyway, various reasons I left that job. Moved, from a somewhat art-related field.
Right.
Design-related. More, well, anyway. Back to cars. I moved to a auto parts importing company in St. Louis, which is actually in the building where Once Films is. It's in that very building, 3120 Locust Street. That was an auto parts warehouse, and we imported parts from all over the world for foreign cars, and I managed that.
We love you, Chris.
And I was, yeah, Chris is there, yeah. Anyway, so I just didn't have any creative outlet. So my friend Mike Eckert and Bob Shea got me hooked up with Bill Chrisman, who had supposed to be a sign shop, but it was a pretty crazy place in the Loop, just kind of next door to Blueberry Hill.
So you're on Del Mar.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And then we moved over to kind of the Devolver neighborhood to where Joe's Place is now. That was Christmas Studio.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up being like a kind of a business manager, production manager, But that's where I learned to do hand lettering with, they're called quills,
Yeah.
the lettering brushes. They were, God, I mean, a good lettering brush was $35 in 1982, and now they're like 100.
wow.
Russian squirrel hair or something.
Crazy.
So the mall stick. And,
Right.
And I was really getting good at it. And I
Do you
would
have pinstripe cars?
No, never did any pinstripe.
That's
That's a really unique skill.
Well, this window right here is.
Yeah, that's hand. I was almost said that when we started.
Yeah,
That's
hand.
hand lettered. Yeah, but
Phil Jarvis.
No kidding.
the
Shout out to Phil.
yeah, it's signed, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's really getting good at it. I loved it. I would have days where, we'd have like a construction site sign with a hand-painted illustration of a building and like lines of text in Helvetica. And the same thing, you half an hour of that, you'd get into the zone and you'd just be like, working across. And I would like kind of get lost in my thoughts and have memories come back to me that I hadn't thought of for 30 years. It was pretty cool. And
Yeah.
then a company called Gerber Scientific invented the vinyl cutting machine and just
Put a whole industry out of
totally
work.
changed the sign industry. But I really, so my interest was in cars, mechanical things, building things, fabricating things, and art.
Mm-hmm.
And that all kind of fit the sign industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after 7 years, I went out on my own. I had a whole bunch of freelance work lined up in 1987. Left Bill's company and went out on my own and did that for 38 years until I had to go to work when I was 72.
What?
But it was, a lot of it was kind of grueling, pay the bills kind of work. But
Well, you're the best damn sign guy ever.
Well, it's like, that's because there was this core group of fantastic graphic designers, commercial artists, John Solution, Inland Design, all you guys that were there. You went out on your own. I worked with you.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with Sherry Hickman. And I guess I got to be known for being able to interpret like a logo design.
Yeah. So
three-dimensionally.
Yeah.
I love getting a logo done and kind of a sketch of something. And here, Dave,
Well,
figure out
we-
material.
You're right. Figure this out.
No, we sit down and sketch out, well, what if this is 3D and stands off?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love doing that kind of work. And I had some really good clients, and I got to do some really good projects, like the airport.
Mhm. That was a fun
Downtown
one, yeah.
Airport and the Sajay Business Park. Loved doing that kind of work, absolutely loved it.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah. But, I was 72 when I quit working. And I was ready to quit work, but didn't really want to.
So we mentioned in the last podcast your show. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your show?
Yeah, the art that you came out strong with last, and we had up.
What about it?
I want to hear more about it.
We want to
How
hear
did
more.
you
Pretty
enjoy doing
impressive.
it?
I had never seen any of your work, and for you to come out with all those pieces.
Yeah.
that was-
Well, thank you. That's flattering.
I mean, like when you had your sign company, were you doing any art, fine art making?
I did, yeah, really very sparsely.
Yeah.
An opportunity would come up to make a piece. Let me think. 3 things. There was, Bill Chrisman did a fundraiser, I think for the Boys and Girls Club in St. Louis. And it was, where the Jazz St. Louis is?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In Grand Center. It was in that building
Mm-hmm.
before it was really built out as galleries. And it was called the Cross Project, and he took like 3/4 inch plywood and cut out like a 4-inch plus sign. Okay, 4 inches, 12 inches by 12 inches.
Yeah.
He cut out 100 of them, and he gave about 50 or 60 out to artists that he knew. And he gave the rest out to people who were not artists. He said, make a piece of art. And you couldn't tell the difference when the show was
That's awesome.
installed in most cases. So I did a piece for that. And the woman who owned the Parkmore that used to be on Clayton Road.
Yep.
Yeah.
That great old like 50s diner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks that they
Bought
tore
that
down.
piece, it's in her collection. So that was, and it was 3-dimensional.
Right.
It was a little heaven and hell kind of built out thing. There was a invitational mask exhibit at SIU, and David Huntley asked me to make a piece, and I've got,
Is that the Mask of Thorns?
yes.
That's amazing
Yeah,
piece.
That's
That is an amazing mask.
Very proud of the
Right.
piece. I don't know if you probably
Where is
seen
that
it.
today?
It's in the collection. It got bought out of, it won first prize at the mask show.
That's awesome.
And the university bought it.
Oh, wow.
And I got $100. And I wish I had it back.
Right.
But I've got dozens of thorny locust trees on the property.
How bad do you want that mask?
Big, gnarly,
We can go ahead.
big like gnarly thorns, man. And it's a mass that's just covered with, you know.
That was shown at the Edwardsville Art Center during a mask show.
Oh, well, yeah.
That
I got
Is that
Dan-
the one that Dan did?
Dan
the
curated
old
that
mask?
with
That's
SIU as a joint project between
forgot
Edwardsville
they got
Art
that
Center,
on
and
museum.
they pulled a collection of masks that
Yeah.
came from the museum at SIU
Got that, Steve.
and local other mask people who went.
Yeah.
It was just all the local masks in Edwardsville were on display. And
Yeah.
that's where I remember seeing it from.
Was that the one that was old and new? It was the old ones they had, because I think that's how we promoted it on the car.
Yeah, probably because they had Mexican masks. They have
Yes.
a huge collection of, I think, African and Mexican masks in the SIU museum,
Wow.
and they were on display in that show.
So I did, those two things are probably.
You did a spunky, didn't you? Did you do a spunky
Oh, yeah.
for the spunky show?
Yeah.
And you did that, right? That was your show,
Fundraiser for the EAC.
Yeah.
I was struggling.
right?
And, I sent out 100 invitations for people to submit. It was a draw spunky out of the back of comic books or magazines for the famous.
You too could learn to art, and all you had to do is send away for this instruction.
Yeah.
In what to maybe it was art school. You had
Like a
to
mail order.
Yeah,
He had-
I know.
Draw the parrot.
draw the parrot or Tippy the turtle, but this was
Or
spunky.
there
Was
a pirate too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And you sent it in,
Yeah.
and lo and behold, they thought you had
Talent.
real potential to be an artist. And you should sign up for their classes. Nobody got
And
rejected.
if I remember right, Steve, you did that invite? The little spunky invite?
maybe I can't remember. I probably did it.
I think you did that.
Yeah,
That show was fun, man.
that was a fun. Those were the
I
fun
have
shows.
Bob Shea had a massive piece in there.
I have Andy McGee's piece.
Yeah, Andy McGee's is upstairs, right?
And then I thought,
So I gave this little spunky ad to 100 different artists and asked them to donate a piece to the
dumped
fundraiser.
based on spunky.
Yeah.
Could
Based
be
on
anything.
spunky.
Yeah,
And it was wide open, you know, it could be your interpretation of spunky. It wouldn't
Right.
have to look like spunky.
that was fun. I did a poster,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
was the shape of the spunky character, but I spray painted that on top of fake donkey fur.
Yeah, right.
It was a fur poster. Jamie Henderson
Oh,
got
God, I
it.
love
He's
it,
got
yeah.
it somewhere. I haven't seen it in years.
I did a 4-foot square painting of like an insane, mad monster spunky, and it was all these like.
That's awesome.
colors. And then I computer vinyl cut like a big like rubber stamp on it that said "Famous Artist School Rejected,"
John Beck did a piece.
and a guy.
Yeah, it was great. John Beck did a metal piece.
And my favorite piece in the show, I think, was Alan Levin's with
I
the
was just gonna
chalkboard.
say that.
And I think that one, that and Andy McGee's one.
Describe the piece.
It was a found chalkboard,
Chalkboard.
and he had a string like the tail type, or was it? No,
He
the,
screen printed Spunky verbatim
Oh, that's
without
right.
his tail.
then this
And
was.
then he nailed a string with a piece of chalk.
Oh, that's-
People could draw his tail.
Oh man.
That was
so-
fantastic.
Did we know
What a
that?
great show.
My friend Alan Levin.
I don't know who.
That piece, that was fabulous.
I think a lot of the stuff sold.
Yeah, it went away.
We raised like $3,600.
Yeah.
That was pretty good money back then for the art center.
Well, and then like a month later, they let us know they were moving out to the high school.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
well-
that was a lot of work for. I did that so you didn't have to move. You know?
It didn't work.
Anyway, it was huge fun.
Yeah, that was
I can't
super
remember all
fun.
the pieces.
So you did like 3 or 4 pieces in that multi-decade era of being a sign maker,
Yeah, pretty
sign
much.
designer. But then you come out after you retire, you blow it out of the park, hit it out of the park,
Took me
and
2
with
years
with your ruin show. I call it the ruin show. Maybe it's not called the ruin show.
Yeah. After my wife passed away, we built a little addition off the back of the house for a dining room, and there was this dead space underneath it, like a bonus room. It was
Yeah.
not finished, and she wanted to make it a sewing room.
Mm-hmm.
So I put a really nice window in that looks out in the woods and the meadow, and insulated, wired it, drywalled it, and got it all set up.
It's a great
And
studio.
she used it that way for about 10 years.
Nice.
Yeah. And then all that stuff went away, and I had this room, and I thought, I want to make an art studio down there.
Very good idea.
Oh my God! And I tell you what, every time I walk into that room, it's the most remote room in the house.
Yeah.
And you know, you're just looking out at woods and a meadow and a creek, and the sunlight's pouring in. It's just.
All right, I'm gonna close my eyes and when you keep
Yeah.
talking.
Oh.
Well, you guys should come out and see it sometime. I don't know if you can see it.
Well, we never get invited.
Yeah, that's
for another podcast.
We can talk about that next
You
podcast.
know, we're kind of picky out on Hazel Road.
We're in the second tier,
Right.
third tier friends.
Well, Dave, you put that show together and you had prints made and then you put them all
Yeah,
up
so I
and then you
started-
like sold out.
So this relates to what we were talking about you need to have like a purpose, like your art has to have some meaning to you. And the runes were something that had come to have like really significant meaning to me, like in a spiritual way. Because I rejected organized religion, which I grew up with, very much so. My parents were churchgoers and
Yeah.
went to church all the time. My dad was a deacon and my mom was a secretary. Spent a lot of time.
Sounds rough.
And then when I was 20, 21, I moved away from it and kept moving farther away. But the runes had come to be kind of a source of,
There were-
I guess, spiritual guidance.
Take a hit. Just kidding.
Blue-
Can of water.
Yeah. So it had meaning for me. And,
Yeah.
And that's what drove me to do those pieces, which were abstract interpretations of the meaning of each word symbol. And man, I tell you, I went into it just like scared to death, cold feet, just started slapping paint down, and the first piece I finished, and I was like, this sucks. And I walked away from it. A couple days later, came back, and for like 3 weeks, I went through this angst. and I said, I'm just going to ditch this and start over, see if I can do it
Mm-hmm.
better. Thought, well, wait a minute, why don't I just cut it up and rearrange all the pieces in a new, and then it like, then it
Right.
worked for me. I don't know if it works for anybody else. And that became the MO for the whole rest of the series. I do the painting, cut it up, we cut them up in different ways, or
Right.
assemble them in different ways. And I'm still working, I'm working on, those were 12 inches square. I'm working on 18-inch square pieces now.
Nice.
And I'm gonna do two, I'm gonna do it a different way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do 2 of each piece and cut them up and intermix the pieces from the two, see where that goes. And after that, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I've got, back to the art and motorcycles, I've got a folder on my desktop of 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s Formula One cars, Ferraris and McLarens and Tyrrells and all the F1 teams, Lotuses, and I'd like to do. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I love those images.
Mm-hmm.
It's an era I grew up with, and F1 now is like exploding. It's moved to Apple TV and
Right.
it's getting like massive.
Now you used to race, right? Karts of some sort?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
You drove
I
and
did autocross for about 10 years.
Right.
And then there's a Sports Car Club of America. It's amateur
Mhm.
auto racing. And this is at the old Gateway track. It was a huge track.
right.
Then they started doing what's
What's down in
called,
Granite?
it's in Madison there. It's where the racetrack now.
Yeah.
It's Worldwide Technologies Raceway now.
Right.
But I did this thing called autocross where they set up cones in a parking lot, or And then they got access to the track, and they would use one end of the track. And that's all called Solo 2. It's like lower speed. And then they started doing Solo 1 events, which are much higher speed. And a bigger part of the racetrack, and like 2 or 3 laps instead of just 1 lap at a time. I did that for a couple of years. And then I had to just stop doing it because it was taking too much time and too much money.
Right.
Time away from my family,
Yeah.
evenings, and it was just for my own pleasure. It was getting to be kind of selfish. But then later, I did track days with the Porsche and the NSX. Which
That's fun.
yeah.
That's good times.
But before that, I had 5 years between 2 marriages where I was on my own, and I raced motorcycles, road racing. You know the guys that are like leaned over.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the knees almost hit it.
That kind of racing, but we could only lean over
Lean a little
half as
bit.
much
Lean a
as
little
they
bit.
can now. Because the technology is really different.
Right.
I did that for 3 years. I had an AMA number, national number.
Fun.
989 was my number. And did that for 3 years. At the end of the second year, I had a pretty heavy crash and injured my knee, shattered my kneecap. And I came back the next spring and I did 2 races. Like, I can't forget how much that hurt.
Right.
I just don't have it anymore, So I got out of that. Anyway, yeah, so my whole life has been like, a friend of my dad's gave me a car model when I was 10 years old. I had no interest in cars, no interest in models. It was the first Lincoln Continental, which were like coach-built cars.
Right.
Very expensive, like a 55 Lincoln Continental. I built that, and it's been cars and making things and art and motorcycles and mechanical things. I built my house. I just really building things in cars and motorcycles and art and design.
Nice.
I just love, I've got a ton of books on like furniture designers, architects,
Right.
that kind of design, the 3D design, industrial. And I've talked to Alan Levin about this. If we had known what industrial design was when I was in high school, that's absolutely what I would have gone into.
Yeah.
People would design like Apple phones and watches, or
Any object.
toasters,
Yeah.
or vacuum cleaners,
Right.
or cameras, or that kind of 3D design. I would have absolutely gone into that. But I got to do it in the sign business.
Yeah.
And I had great designers I got to work with. I was really fortunate in how my business went. After about the first 2 years, I didn't have to do any marketing. I was living on referrals.
Mm-hmm.
I had some property managers, Mark Twain Plaza, where I lived with those bulky brown. Had tenants moving in. I did the signage for the plaza. And then as they had tenants moving in, they'd refer them to me for their exterior.
For the updates.
Signage.
Nice.
And I just lived on referrals. It was great. Never had a website.
Pays to do good work,
I
doesn't
didn't
it?
need one. People just wanted to see pictures of my work.
Right.
They didn't care about the history of the company.
Right.
So I just did a free Facebook business page.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Your attention to detail is, I've never run into that before. I mean, you would keep us in line with it. I mean, what's gonna work in vinyl,
well, you
this is
guys
gonna
would
fly.
listen. Designers would listen. Clients wouldn't listen. Somebody would give me a business card, and it would be like the lightest version of a font and tiny.
Yeah.
And I said, it's not going to read.
Right.
Signage needs to have more contrast. It would be like, tan with brown lettering or something like that. And the clients would listen, but you guys would listen. And I say, can we make that font like the next weight?
Mhm.
And you go, let me work with the client and explain why. And then we could do it. And then the sign would do its job. You could read it from the road, some of the stuff I got to do with you, one of my favorite things is gone now, but it was in Wester Groves. What was the letter? There was a curved bar and it had one letter on it.
We did Leech together, didn't we?
No, I can't remember the company. Anyway.
Great story, guys.
It is.
It's good to have a point when you start talking, right?
Let's just,
Well, we did,
try to figure this out, even if it takes 2 hours.
Now's a great
Keep
time to
talking.
do
and
that.
that guy, remember that guy with the weird ear? We did Club Z, remember that?
Oh, yeah, it's where the Pepper Lounge is. That's
Oh, yeah.
Frankie. That was Frankie's bar.
Frank-
I remember that place.
Yeah.
Dr. Zevegas had a club down on Locust, right across from Schlafly Brewery.
It's where the Pepper Lounge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm familiar.
Oh, is that what's there now?
The Pepper Lounge still, is it still open?
And it was a big, the Z, it was like, you started with a circle, it had like a big arc and a straight line and a lower arc.
Mhm.
And it was about this thick off the wall and it had what's
Backlit.
called halo lighting. There was
Yeah.
good lighting inside.
That was a great
And
sign.
that was like a brand new like approach to signage when we did that. So that, the light floods out on the wall behind the thing, the brush. I think it was stainless, brushed stainless. And it was probably 6 feet tall.
Probably.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think they lasted a year and they folded up.
I don't know, I mean.
They tried.
I
You
actually
travel,
think it did
yeah.
pretty well, but.
yeah. You've traveled the world, Dave, right?
Pardon me?
You've traveled the world. Do you have like any favorite museums that you've been to?
Museum.
The ones that sticks out the most. When I say museum to you, what's the first one that comes to mind?
The Barber Museum.
Really? Tell me about this place. Barber.
Well, it's not art, but it is art. In my realm, it's art. There was a Barber bakery company somewhere in Alabama, and this guy inherited, like 5th generation, inherited the company, and he built a Barber motorcycle museum, and it has damn near every freaking motorcycle that's ever been built. 3 stories.
That sounds awesome.
Perfectly restored motorcycles.
Is it still there?
Every brand, like
It's
just
still there.
every brand that you can think
Everything,
of. Yeah.
everything. Yeah. And each gallery, collection room, there's 4 or 5 high, big plexiglass boxes, almost like model cars come in a plastic box, just stacked. And my God, and talk about industrial design, just beautiful stuff.
No, I love the look of a motorcycle. I mean,
Well, and then there's the motor museum that's gone, but it was where the Triumph Grill,
Mhm.
and that's
That was a great place.
wonderful place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that guy had significant historic pieces in there that were in the Met in New York did a traveling exhibit of motorcycle design, and 4 or 5 pieces came out of Steve. And Steve Smith is the guy that owns the architecture firm in St. Louis.
Lawrence, or it's not the Lawrence Group, is it?
Lawrence Group.
Yeah.
It's something else now, they changed the name.
Right.
Well, this museum is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It's in
Oh, the
Birmingham.
barber.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm completely down for
Looks
that.
like we have a road trip to Pittsburgh
And
to go
actually,
see Warhol.
Yeah.
Mr.
You know,
Barber just died about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, this
To the Barbie Museum in
It's pretty
Birmingham.
endowment that's gonna keep it going.
That's
But,
amazing.
he's got millions in this building.
They
Right.
have cars in there. I mean, it's quite impressive. It does remind me a lot of the motorcycle museum that we had here in St. Louis.
Right, it's
Like,
similar,
Yeah.
but it's
On a
1,000
much-
times bigger.
Right.
on a much larger scale.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Duly noted.
Anyway, so, I mean, that, and you mentioned Weatherford, and, he's still a dear friend, he's gonna be 86 in May. I actually worked for about 6 months for him as a house painter before he had a sign business. But then, he helped facilitate me getting into going out on my own after I worked for Bill Christian for a while. One other thing, Bob Shea, I gotta get this in. You guys talked about Bob Shea's wall.
Yeah.
Okay?
You should tell the lunch story. You finished the illustration at lunch, you said, I think.
The what?
Did you say he finished an illustration at lunch?
Oh, he did one at breakfast.
At breakfast.
Mike Eckert and I met him at his house, and we were gonna go look at something, meet a client or something, I don't know. And he was sitting at his kitchen table eating like bacon and eggs, and he's doing this like presentation board, and he's gonna go, you know, that guy's probably the most talented guy ever.
Great illustrator and a great sense of design, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned his comic book collection, but his wall, was in there with Mike one day. That wall just blew me away. It was in South City somewhere.
Yeah, I can't even remember
Really
where it
rough,
was.
Really rough neighborhood. And you guys like talked about it in the last
Yeah.
podcast. What I remember is it was all found objects from the streets around.
Right.
And there were a lot of drug activity, a lot of car accidents. He had car bumpers, chrome bumpers and plastic bumpers, but he had grouped things by what kind of object it was. And there was one section, there were 50 or 60 big lighters with the tops broken off.
If you watch the podcast on YouTube, you'll see a photograph of that.
Oh, great, okay.
Yeah. If you,
So
yeah.
those were
Not this
collected
podcast,
together?
but the previous podcast.
one.
If you watch that one on YouTube, you can see photographs of
Great.
Bob Shea's
I
wall
haven't gone
and
back and looked at
the
that,
Bic
but I-
lighter.
There's a lighter.
Yeah.
And that's where drug addicts had like broken the top off and used the butane to heat the spoon for whatever they were gonna shoot up. And there were some syringes there
How
too.
does he know so much about this process?
I don't know.
Well,
He-
Bob explained it to me. I didn't know. I didn't.
Remember, he went from the art
And-
department
and
from the
he-
engineering department.
Remember, this goes back to the druggy.
Yeah, right.
Like he's awfully
Those
detailed.
dope heads.
And he had another section that was all found underwear. And there were about
Oh, boy.
25 girls' underpants.
Conversations going
He had a
south.
couple of
That's
boxers, that were all grouped together. And he had another, and my very favorite thing, there was a thing of like receipts from grocery stores or tickets from dry cleaners or that kind of stuff, like little paper objects. And in there was this note, it was crumpled up and had been folded out. And someone had written this to a guy, and it was in a woman's handwriting, and it said, "John, exclamation point. Pick up milk on the way home, exclamation point. And don't lose this note, like underlined, don't." And it had been watered up and it was on Bob's wall. And I would love for the person who wrote that note to like
Right. Know what happened to it?
Well, he's
And
most
what was
certainly-
thing about Bob Shea?
he's most certainly one of my favorites.
Oh my God. So I was in art school with him at SIU.
Yeah.
We were in the same years. I had a 300 level drawing class with him. And we were all kind of grouped together. And the class before the like spring critique for the drawing class was an art history lecture. And everybody had their portfolios with them because they were going to this critique the next thing. And so Mike Eckert was there and Bob Shea, a whole bunch of people, Mike Turpinoff, my buddy. And everybody's pulling their work out, and then Bob Shea pulls out this like 30 by 40 rapidograph portrait of Robert Kennedy.
We had that over here.
You what?
Yeah, the Robert Kennedy, when we, in 2012, we didn't have enough
Oh.
to do the political show, so I called him.
yeah.
So that Robert Kennedy.
Well, that's the piece.
Was the
That's the
main wall.
piece.
Yeah.
It would look like a
Stunning.
000 rapidograph, and there's got to be 10 billion little
Hash marks in there.
That's the style he did. And he pulled this thing out of his portfolio, and everybody went, "Oh, fuck." God.
This guy's the real deal.
You know, somebody's got a little drawing of a doggy, and, you know.
That's awesome.
But I don't want to like. I just have one more thing to say. You said anything can be art. Anything can be art. I'll shut up after this. You said anything can be art, and I believe that. I mean, you know, I learned about like Marcel Duchamp and the Dadaists, and you know, Duchamp did a urinal mounted on a wall in the Louvre. You know?
Right.
And I firmly believe, and I also believe that anything anybody makes, if they say it's art, it's art. And
I've
it's
always
bona fide,
been pretty
I'm not gonna argue with
intrigued. I
anybody.
always love found objects. I mean, I never
Exactly.
work with them, but I love
Yeah.
what people do and have that
Exactly.
skill.
So I had a summer sculpture class when I was probably a junior at SIU out of Wagner. And there was a woman from, I think, Litchfield, who signed up for this class. And she, was kind of like a Sunday painter. And we're all doing like all kinds of wild stuff in this sculpture class. And she just wasn't, we'd have critiques and she'd say, I just don't get it, I don't know why that's hard. And, she was just really getting distraught. And so the final critique, she comes in with a loaf of bread she made. And she had put like a little cassette recorder inside of it with her making these moaning sounds like, oh, like,
Really?
this loaf of bread. And this whole class were like, holy shit, you get it, man. And she was just like babying, and it was so cool.
That sounds amazing, right?
She finally got out of her, little ceramic bunnies.
Yeah.
So I think anybody can be an artist. And I think anything anybody makes, if they say it's art, it's art.